So welcome to the day 4 of the FTP. I'm privileged to introduce the session speaker Sri J. Santana Krishna Garu, retired Deputy General Manager, BSNL Chennai. Sir has more than 4 decades of teaching plus industry experience in Department of Telecommunications BSNL and 3+ years of faculty exposure in NIT Nagaland and state universities that add value to the core competency in teaching technical and management subjects. He introduced innovation in industrial training through e-campus and e-learning programs in Department of Telecommunications BSNL, for which Vishisht Sanchar Seva Padak was awarded. Teaching PG students along with coursework for PhD scholars in NIT is another milestone after superannuation. His significant contributions include introducing next generation technology design for transporting high bandwidth cable TV signals across Tamil Nadu and design of BharatNet project for Tamil Nadu government. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Over
Can
to
I
you,
start
sir.
now?
Yes, sir.
Or you want somebody to join still?
No, sir, you can start. It's already 9:30, sir.
Okay. Good morning to all participants. It is a great pleasure to be with you this morning. And I am supposed to take tomorrow second session, and it has been just preponed. And of course, it is one side it is good for me and for you also. But only point is that this particular session has to follow the introduction of 6G, because now we are going to discuss only the research opportunities and the role of machine learning in 6G. So fundamentally, we require an exposure on the requirements of 6G. So then it becomes an important for me that I have to do some justice for foundation of 6G, and then go on for finding out the roles and then telling you the research opportunities. Okay. So no issue. Now we will start with that. I'll assume that my PowerPoint is visible to all of you, and my voice is also okay. Can I start?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Can I start? Participants, can I go ahead?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now the topic today is research opportunities and then role of machine learning in 5G. Okay. Right. Now, before going to the research opportunities, we have to first of all understand some of the nuances of 6G. And you have been already given a lot of exposure on machine learning, and I assume that you have a very good exposure on that. And you are also now for the past 1 week getting exposures about the 5G. Now I will just crisply say that take you a walkthrough on the 6G by comparing the 5G. And right from the beginning to the end, I will be discussing upon the mobile networking concept leading to 6G, and then how the mobile machine learning can fit in. So, every module we will discuss in terms of physical layer, then network layer, then we will discuss in terms of application layer, and then in each layer, what are all the various research questions are involved, and it will be very useful. The motivation part of my lecture is that for the people who are in the academic, you will have a very comfort level to understand what is happening in the industry level with respect to the 6G, and then what academia is supposed to contribute. In addition to that, people who are looking for research opportunities, we will discuss very deeply what are all the limitations of the current networks leading to 5G, and then these limitations can be broken out by introducing machine learning, and then how to take forward. And then every module end we will discuss about the research opportunities and then questions involved. And my role mainly in the motivation will be to trigger your interest and then requirements of the research opportunities by putting more and more questions. But we will not, I am not going to focus on a particular question, and then go deeper into that. Okay, so we will give you a broad overview and then see what is the best research question we will be able to select if you want to pursue your career further. So at the end, I'll be with you for around 90 minutes, and then at the end of the session, I hope that all of you will have a very good exposure on the fundamentals of 6G, and also how to do the stitching of machine learning opportunities into the 6G, so that you will be able to publish papers very comfortably going into a particular line of interest. So for that, right from the beginning and even to the end, I would like to emphasize that you should have a very good sound base of machine learning, and also mobile communication basic concepts, so that you will be able to take both of them together towards providing a good insight and then research case for 6G and then ML. Okay. With this motivation, now I will go to the introductory aspect of that. Okay. So by now you have been repeatedly been exposed since yesterday that the 5G is providing a data rate. Okay. So 5G is providing you a data rate of 1 Gbps, then individual data rate, and then you have a control plane, that is latency. You are able to provide up to 10 milliseconds, and mobility is there, and so on. So now if you see the, I will take the laser pointer. Um, if you see the 6G, you can just see that individual data rate is now around 100 Gbps, and then that is a total downlink data rate is more than 1000 Gbps. So control plane latency, you can see it is less than 1 milliseconds, and then mobility, you can go in a car, up to 1000 kilometers per second per hour, and also spectral efficiency, you see 100 bits per second per hertz, whereas in 5G it is only 30. So if you just compare, it is all leaps and bounds, the request and then imagination.
Sir, excuse me, sir. The slide's not moving.
Slides are not moving, sir.
Slide is not visible.
Not moving.
Not moving,
Just first
sir,
slide
not
only
moving.
visible,
First
sir.
slide only.
Now I am in second. Achha, it is not moving.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
1 minute.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Now it's okay.
Okay.
Now it is okay, no?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Right. So now it is the leaps and bounds, See, the 6G is now going to provide you a sumptuous meal with respect to the mobile technology. Okay. So this is the jump. But I would like to emphasize here and then motivate you right from the beginning, warm up you with the concept of intelligentization, and then connecting heterogeneous devices. So far the 5G, we were talking about connected devices. Okay. So we were only talking about connected devices, right? Now 6G is going one step forward and then saying providing intelligence to the devices, and that is what we call intelligent, and then providing intelligentization. The moment the word intelligentization comes into the picture, automatically the artificial intelligence comes into the picture. When artificial intelligence comes into the picture, the subset, for the artificial intelligence, these are the machine learning techniques are automatically come into the picture, and that is how we are now today. I am with you today. Okay, now another aspect is exponentially increasing of connected heterogeneous devices. So you were all getting discussed about IoT, and then machine to machine communication. Okay, so ultimately you are going to say that the future is going to be with device to device communication, and then today they say more than 50 billion devices have been connected, and then it is getting exponentially is getting increasing, and the devices are not uniform. The moment it is devices, that means they are all components of the wireless sensor networks, and then they are basically sensors. So sensors mean that is not only sensor, but they are all actuators also. Okay, so now you are going to get connected the sensor and actuators. Ultimately, the future is going to be billions and billions of devices which are going to be different manufacturers, different makes, different designs, different microcontroller architecture, different operating systems, and then miniaturized sizing, different power problems, and fairly specific to the application. And then we are going to have the division of control plane and then data plane, because now we are going to do virtualization of the network also. So in that, you would have been exposed to software-defined networking and network function virtualization, and then concept of the network slicing. So I'll slowly give you the basic concept. And basically, I'm an industrial person, so bring all the industry ideas into side so that you can blend it with your academic and then do wonderful things. Okay, so the intelligentization and then connected heterogeneous devices are now making us possible to bring data rate of more than 1000 Gbps and latency of less than, and then when you go more than 1000 kilometer speed, then handing over, okay, all these things, okay. And then we are going to provide virtual realities and then the things like that. So the intelligentization is going to do so many things for you. So this is how we are going to take up now. Okay. So with this, then we will go deeper. When you talk about the intelligent, okay, then the main communication, the vision of 6G is the holographic communication. Okay, all of you know hologram. There, the hologram, the intelligence is put very tiny. This one, okay. From there, now we are able to take the artificial reality and then virtual reality using these high fidelity networks. Okay, and then you have the ubiquitous network. That means you will have connection everywhere, at connection at any time. Okay, here this is another important point you have to understand. The current network, you have separate network in C, you have separate network per landline, separate network per mobile with using air. Okay, now I would like to say here, if you have a mobile handset, if you take it near in a sea and then travel in a ship, you will not be able to get connected to a base station. So is it true? I think you will be able to appreciate the point, because every mobile network has to have an infrastructure, has to have a cellular coverage area. If you go inside the sea, there is no cellular coverage area beyond, say, 4-5 nautical miles inside the sea, and therefore there is no connectivity. So how to provide connectivity if you, whether you are in the plane or you are in the moving up in the air or going inside the sea, then you have to provide anywhere, anytime connectivity, and that is what we call as the ubiquitous connectivity. Here the question is, can you link the infrastructure of communication, which is in the air interface, whether it is in the space, whether it is a ground level, whether it is into the sea, maybe whether it is undersea or oversea, whatever may be. Okay, that ubiquitous communication, whether it is possible, then that is possible in the 6G. We are that later slides I am going to see how that is going to be done. Okay. Now, when you provide intelligentization and actually the deep learning and then tactile internet, touch feeling of touch, feeling of hearing, okay, and telepathy, deep mind. So mind-to-mind communication. So these are all the things coming into the picture. So basically, the intelligentization is now getting blended with the deep learning, then holographic communication, and then ubiquitous. Then now, if you want to go for all these things, the present communication technologies, whether they will fit in, okay, or whether they can exist without the learning techniques, okay, that is intelligent technique, is the question now. So up to 4G, up to 3G, we were not worried about the machine learning, okay. We were not worried about the artificial intelligence, okay. When it starts coming in the 4G, small things are coming. So small things, I mean, one of the examples I can give you is the Alexa. So you take your mobile phone, you simply say, get your Alexa downloaded and then get it connected to a TV and then say, please connect me this particular channel or please book me a ticket. Then it analyzes your voice, understands your voice and understands what you have in your mind and by your words, and then try to say, if you say I want to book a ticket and then say to which flight and other things. And then the deep learning, that is the machine learning techniques come to the picture, and that particular application is available on the phone, and the phone is getting integrated to the internet, and then through internet and the specific application of your machine learning, you are able to use this Alexa program and then try to intelligently book the tickets and anywhere. Okay. Now, when it go to 6G and then going to connect billion number of devices, okay, it is now man interface is there. When you call about Alexa and then tell your phone and then book a ticket, or if you say, please switch off the fan, and through Alexa, if you say, that voice and goes through the sensing and then it immediately switches off the fan. Okay, when like that, billions of devices are going to be connected, you find that slowly the machine learning is creeping into the network, okay, through the applications, okay. If so, how this technology is going to get blended through machine learning and then sixth generation communicator, in how much it has come to the 5G. So 5G, you find that there is no tactile internet, then mind, okay. So these things are not there, okay. So these things, when these are all coming, then how we cannot go without machine learning. Now at this slide, you have to fix your mind that future is not without machine learning. Machine learning, I cannot talk about, I cannot simply say the word role, even when the heading given to the today's lecture, role of machine learning, I will say that the word role is not befitting to the heading. I can say indispensability of the machine learning. That is how we have to go now. Because without that, the particular technology, mobile technology cannot exist. And that is the way forward we have to think, okay. So with that in mind, go a little further into that. What are all the potential key technologies? Okay. So when you want billions of devices are getting connected, when you have more ubiquitous connectivity, we want more spectrum. By this time, last 2 days, I also attended some 2, 3, 4 sessions. There we were, people were explaining about you the spectrum efficiency, number of bits per second per hertz, and then you want to have a bandwidth. If so, you have to go for terahertz communication, okay. And then you have to go for visible light, okay, using the optical wire communication. So the spectrum is getting expanded, and then when you have the more and more the technologies are coming, then devices are going to be connected. Then you have to go for the concept of sensing, and then you have to go for concept of compressed sensing. So now if you see now what is the compressed sensing, it is nothing but a signal processing technique. We are getting acquiring the signals and then we are reconstructing it, okay. So to understand the linear system, and mobile system is basically a linear system, and then we have to go for the sparse theory technique and also the coding. So why do you want coding? All of you know that in mobile communication, first of all, the channel is getting attenuated, and then it is getting disturbed because of attenuation on the line, and then then we should have a very good coding technique. And then when you go increase the bandwidth, and then we want to go into decrease the latency, then very good coding techniques are required. And then you already discussed about the MIMO and other things. We require very good large scale antenna techniques, MIMO, okay. So but all these things are there, and another very important thing is flexible spectrum. So here now basically the very main problem of a mobile communication technologies, you see that it is a spectrum. Each operator is getting 5 gigahertz or 10 gigahertz, and they have to build up more number of customers, So they have to go in for space multiplexing or the time division multiplexing, frequency division multiplexing, okay. So the spectrum becomes a very crunch, and they have to pay so much, and then you are seeing, hearing a lot of things in the public domain about the problems of the spectrum sharing. Okay, now when you want to increase the bandwidth and then provide more number of facilities, then we have to necessarily go for terahertz communication, and therefore we require the typical techniques for processing and then advanced signal processing and all. Then we must go in for all of you know simplex and duplex communication and other thing. Here we have to go in for free duplex concept. So what is a free duplex concept? So by this technology is already available, you know, uplink and then downlink. Uplink means right from the mobile phone, the user equipment towards the base station, and that is an uplink. And downlink is from the base station, the signal when it's passing through to the user equipment, then that is called the downlink. And then for a speech, you know, for a conversation, you require both uplink and downlink. And then in our normal communication, GSM technology, and then code division multiplex access, you know that uplink and downlink channels are different, and then uplink frequency is different, uplink downlink frequency is different. Okay, so when both the frequencies are different, so you have to provide more spectrum. That is one thing. Another point, in mobile communication, in our experience, industry experience, you find that uplink and downlink will not be loaded equally, and most of the time, you know, the downlink will be more loaded, and uplink will be so spare. Okay, so that is the reason where, you know, the invention of SMS technology came. Okay, so in the initial mobile communication, when it was invented, SMS was not there. Okay, because it was in the time division multiplexing, the time slots were free. Okay, the downlink time slots were, so most of the time slots were free, and the operators were not making money out of that. So therefore, the German scientists have invented, why not we use the spare time slot for sending the messages, that is 160 characters. Okay, and that is how it came. Okay, that is how here uplink content, if you say data, that is in terms of packetization. Now if you see, not only voice and uplink and downlink, both are used for data as well as voice. That is the technology for in 4G and then in the 5G also. Okay, so when you go for that, now what happens? Whenever now you log in and then put a, say, gmail.com, you just send your credentials to the server, and a very few bytes of information is being shared. And then when you download a attachment of your mail, then the downlink frequency, that is downlink channel, is getting more occupied, and then you find that uplink is free and then downlink is more loaded. Now in this case, now what happens? So that uplink and then downlink becomes asymmetric. So this we call as a asymmetric, in a normal landline technology, we call it as a asymmetric digital subscriber line. And that is why, so there are a lot of digital subscriber technology concept, both on the landline and also on the digital, that air interface. So we want to duplex, we want to full duplex. At the same time, the duplexing should be free. That means if it is possible to use both uplink and downlink, the same, you know, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, and then see the intelligence of the speech as well as the data, and so that there will not be unfair distribution of data, both on uplink and downlink. As a company, then I'll be able to make more money and then better utilization of the data. So that is the concept of this one. So the free duplex concept is this. That means the asymmetric phenomenon of the uplink and downlink has to be broken. So that is one of the very biggest achievements. Here, to get this concept of the free duplex, we require the learning. Okay, so machine learning, that it is required. So that is where we are going to stitch. And now onwards, you can, if you have a notebook, you can go on making a note that this is the research area. Now this is one of the research area, how to provide free duplexing concept using the machine learning. Okay, and there comes in a artificial intelligence based wireless communication. And then you see now here, Spatial, that is a special features. The space and ground network has to be interconnected. Yeah, undersea communication has to be interconnected. Wireless tactile internet is interconnected. That means in 6G communication, there is no difference. Your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and IoT devices, IoT network, sensor network, machine-to-machine communication network, satellite network, okay, and then undersea communication, okay, everything will become one network wherever you are. That is why we say anywhere, anytime, anything, and any amount of data which you can go, okay, and any type of not only voice, it is also data, and it is also by a tactile data, it is also by reality data connected to reality. And also there may be requirements, special features. I just want to make a mention here. There is a requirement. So now you go for automatic metering infrastructure, IoT connected network. It is only a few bytes of, actually you find that it is only 1 byte of information will go from meter to the server which is connected to the electricity department. Okay. So then it is get your meter data of your electricity home consumption is getting updated online, and you will get a message that whether it is high consumption or low consumption, how you can manage your consumption limits, how you can make economically make use of that. So all these things, intelligent management will start coming. Now, if for 1 byte of information, suppose say because with the ATM machines, you just insert your ATM card, just only 1 byte of information is getting transmitted to your server. So within a fraction of a second, your number is getting validated, and then getting handshaking, when security handshake is taking place, the value of money that you are going to take out, that is also getting validated. Okay. So here what happened, very short time interval, and then very short amount, that is very little amount of data it is going to be transmitted. Such a kind of network, present day, in 4G communication, you don't have any facility. Whether minimum, if you want, you say, I can have 250 kbps. Suppose now in my house, I have say 10 Mbps connection, fiber connection. Suppose I am using only 5 kbps per the minute, but I have to pay for 10 Mbps. So when in the case of 6G, and then you have a machine learning technology, and if the machine learning understands my behavior, I will use only 1 Mbps in a day, and that too between 10 to 11, and then do the machine learning training, and then see that only at that particular hour you try to feed only this amount of data. So this is one of the research area in the case of a special features which is not available in the 4G or the now coming to 5G also. This type of facility will not be provided now immediately. Okay, so now this is how the integration of the technology. Okay, that is the landline network. So PLM, and that is the mobile communication network. PSTN is the switching landline network, internet, and then satellite geostation network. All of them are getting integrated. That means you will get one network architecture in integrated communication. Okay, and now with the 6G challenges, only objectives. I'll just go little faster because I have a lot amount of things to tell you in the machine learning stitching and then blending of machine learning for 6G aspect. So if you have any, I don't know whether you have any doubt up to this, any messages are there. I'll check up. I think nobody has asked any doubts so far. Okay. So up to this is okay, speed is okay, learning, yeah, you have any learning difficulties, can I go at the same level?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now there is a challenge. Now you take the concepts, objective of the 6G. First, first we have to talk about the radio performance. Then we have to have the connecting intelligence. I talked about the connected devices, and then talked about the intelligence. Then I also told the architecture beyond 5G and what is 6G. What are the evolution? How the network evolution is taking place. Okay. So in this orchestration. Now, if you see the radio performance towards this one, here the one concept is synchronization. Okay, synchronization, mobility, synchronization. Basically, if you know one type of basic synchronization is a channel synchronization. That means the base station and your mobile handset, they have to be synchronized on this time scale. Okay, so that synchronization has to take place. If it is not the synchronization take place, the clock of the base station and the clock of your mobile, they will be on a different phase difference. Okay, so if we want to have a good coverage and then you have a mobility, then you should have a synchronization. When you go for towards the 6G, the synchronization is one of the very important concept, and there your machine learning is going to play a very good things. So where the machine learning can play an important role is in the MIMO and then beam forming. Okay, enabling the hardware. What are the hardware technologies we are enabling, and that I am going to tell you in the later slide. I only give you now headings and then ideas. Okay, and then what are the type of modulation and waveform where you can have the synchronization aspect, and then channel synchronization, how you are going to do that. Okay, and then here localization and then sensing. Okay, so the sensing, because the future is going to be only on the IoT devices, wireless sensor devices, which are going to be the end devices for radar, artificial reality, virtual reality, the cameras, then industries, and then robots. So the resolution for time and then velocity, in case we want to do the localization and then sensing, because 6G is going to have a very good tactile internet and then high resolution. So the localization is very important. Now current day 3G and then 4G, you can have a localization only with respect to received signal strength. So what is the received signal strength? Your mobile, when it is very near to the BTS, the power level is high. It receives the power level is very high. And then when you go towards the boundary of the coverage area, the power received is going to be very less. It is going to get reduced. So now what happened? The mobile handset is now talking to the BTS and periodically exchanging the values of the power level received, and then the mobile, the base station sends this information and then calculates the power level from the received signal strength, that is the power level of the signal. We are able to predict the location of the customer. Okay, so now that is not sufficient. When you go for 6G and then you are going to get connected to the Internet of Things, I want the latitude or longitude of the location, very precise location of the customer. So when you want that, when the IoT devices are going to be there in areas where there may not be even coverage, mobile coverage will not be there, whereas the wireless sensor network, through this sensing on a particular location based on the data-centric sensing and then localization, through the gateway they send the information to the cloud servers which is connected to the mobile network. In that case, so we have the sensing and then localization is going to be very important. And therefore, you find in the bottom the spectrum what we are going to use is now going from from the gigahertz of 2 to 3 gigahertz is going beyond 30 gigahertz now, because we want to have more spectrum now. Okay, so this is the radio performance. So in the case of now the connecting intelligence, in the case of here, if you go through this one, so the idea is now we want to have predictive orchestration. Okay, and then we want to have network, full network has to be made programmable. Then we monitoring should be adaptive. That means the monitoring, that means there is a sensor and the network is connected into the 6G network, and then it is a camera, and then it is an artificial reality. Okay, the movement of the video has to be very clearly sensed, and then it has to send to the distant end, and there cannot be any break in the frames which is being transmitted. Okay, for that it has to be monitored. But for this, is one set of frequency is not sufficient. One for tracking, one for sending the information that is required. Okay, so this point I will discuss later. But now you have to understand, this is called adaptive monitoring. When you say the coverage is not pakka, then accordingly your algorithm algorithm has to change. There your machine learning is coming into the picture. Okay, and then data-driven optimization. This is one of the another concept. So data-driven optimization. That means when you say car is moving, because unmanned aerial vehicle, unmanned platooning the vehicle, automatic driverless vehicle concept is coming in the 6G. There, the data-driven. When the speed is getting increased in a car, then I require more data, and then who will monitor? Presently, there is no monitoring mechanism because the network is linear, and then there is no artificial intelligence put into that. So we require connected intelligence. As and when the driver, they increase the speed of the car is getting increased, I will be able to do intelligently train and then find out the algorithm, and then using the machine learning techniques, I must provide connecting intelligence so that I will be able to increase the data. Okay, so and another concept is the end-to-end seamless integration. End-to-end seamless integration means one side there will be wireless sensor network, another side it may be satellite network. So there the server may be there, and the end-to-end network IoT device will be there on the sea. So the satellite, latency is more. The sea, the connectivity is very less. But now, in present day, what we do, we build Internet of Things using the sensor network, then build up with a landline network, and then provide interface with a mobile network, and then get it connected to the satellite network, and then provide a matching interface for all these network to have a seamless integration between the device and to the satellite, the connectivity to the satellite. But that will not work, because you will have more latency. But I want latency less than that. Okay, for critical surgeries and other things. So there it comes a concept of end-to-end seamless integration. Okay, so here we have to go into deeper into the connected intelligence. Okay, now comes the idea of network evolution and then expansion. Why? Okay, so what are the different type of network is there? So we have 5G. You have learned, I think, machine type communication, ultra reliable, low latency communication. So these are the concepts you have learned. Okay, but if now we want something beyond ultra reliable, low latency communication. Okay, if you see now here they are using the concept of digital twin. Digital twin. The concept of digital twin is one of the concepts which is going to be blended with the machine learning. You can now make note of it. Here in this case, if you want to have digital twin concept, so for now you take a machine-to-machine communication in the industrial robots, and if you want to provide a particular application for industry, and then that is a physical entity. For the physical entity, you want to provide interfaces and then machine learning interface. Okay, then that is called a digital side. So physical side and then digital side, they are now together. They are like a twin. So both are getting interrelated. So this concept is called digital twin, and that is going to be integrated into the intelligent connected devices. Okay, so and you want to have centralized or distributed artificial intelligence enabler. That means you are connecting the robots for different industries and different locations, and then you can provide a central intelligence, artificial intelligence, just like in a smart grid. Okay, and then there is a windmill farm is there. The motor getting burned. The central artificial agency get the input, then find out if this is a summer reason, this is a temperature is high, the motor reached the temperature of 33 degrees, the motor has got a pre-history of this time, it is likely to burn. So like that you can interpret the value for the wind farm turbine of that motor, what it is rotating the blades, and then give a centralized AI enabler to the distributed. That we are going to see the cloud radio access networks. Okay, human machine interface, how they are going to interface. All these going to get connected to the network, and the network is going to get evolved. So 3G, we were having only mobile communication, they are not getting integrated except voice. In 4G also you find the landline communication and mobile, they are not getting integrated. You cannot keep it as one network. Whereas the 5G communication, you find that our landline network, our mobile network, and also the Wi-Fi network, they are getting integrated. Okay, to some extent, the IoT devices are going to get integrated. In the 6G, not only the device to device, okay, you have to get any enablers through artificial intelligence, using the digital concept, any human machine interface, all of them are going to be connected, and then network is going to get expanded, and then you will get only integrated network, and that is the way we are going, network evolution, and then artificial intelligence is coming into play in a very big way. Okay, now you see now this is the 6G network, in which you will have the wireless access, and the wireless access, when it is getting connected to this one, either you can have a distributed access, or you can straightaway connect it to the central unit using a front hall, and then these central units are connected to the internet through the backhaul. So you have the front hall network and then backhaul network, they are all through the fiber interface, and then these dotted lines or the air interface, there you have the wireless access. The wireless vehicles are fixed in your houses and other thing, maybe pad, iPad, or the mobile phone. You have the user equipment, and then you are going to have access network using the front hall and the back hall, and then you have the central office, and then you have the internet. Now, just to see now how artificial intelligence is going to fit in. Okay. Now, when we want to discuss artificial intelligence, this 6G network, you have to think of only now OSI layers. When you think of OSI layers, then you have the physical layer and MAC layer, then you have the network layer, and then basically you have the application layer. These are the three layers, very important, which you have to conceptually develop. Now, in this physical and the MAC layer, so what are the jobs we do? So we want the bandwidth has to be allocated. That means for that we require resources, and then we have to do the scheduling, whether the bandwidth, at what time the bandwidth has to be allocated. Now presently your mobile is there, you just switch on, whether you make a call or not, okay, there is a that is getting that. Now can you make, so when you want to go to make up sleep, then you have to understand my behavior, when we will use, when I will not use. Now machine learning comes to the picture. This is one of the research area in your 6G, where you can develop algorithms and then say whether the mobile phone itself can go for sleep whenever you don't require that. Okay, whether any channel, a broadcast channel, paging channel has to be allotted permanently to you or not. Only when you just touch the phone, then your paging channel is allotted. That is sufficient. That is not there now. So whether that can be done, that is one of the research area. Okay. Then once you say I want to get attached to a network, then the mobile phone has to say I am there in your network, please attach me. Then the node, which is going to get connected in the front hall or through the wireless access, the access point or whatever it is, it has to give you a uplink. So okay, I'll give you a channel, please get me connected. So these things, channel has to be decoded, the symbol has to be detected, and then what type of a channel? Is it a mobile phone? Are you going to do get it connected and then do the video calling, or whether it is an IoT device, or whether it is only automatic metering infrastructure or ATM, where you require only 1 bit or 2 bit of information. So this channel estimation has to be required. Now presently we don't have, for ATM machines, we don't have machine learning algorithm. What is the amount of bandwidth is to be allotted? So in our industry, what we do, if we say ATM, we provide a bandwidth at an approximate requirement. Whether you use it or not, we will bill it, and then you have to pay for it. Okay. So in the artificial intelligence, in the physical layer and then MAC layer, plays a very important role in channel estimation, symbol detection, and then channel decoding, and then so on. Okay. So this artificial intelligence network, you have the input and output, you have the hidden network. Okay. So these things I am not going very deeper into that, because already you are done. Now my job is now how to get yourself understanding the basics of stitching these ideas to the mobile concepts, okay, network concept. In the network layer, I want to give you an idea how the network planning has to be done, then how network routing has to be done, and then management, okay. All these things have to be done. So in this physical and then MAC layer, we have to use the deep learning and algorithm because we want to have allocate the resource. I already told you the idea for an ATM, what is the resource to be allocated. The moment ATM is not used there, how to make it to go for a sleeping mode, and then what is the power required to be allotted. Here, the deep learning can optimize. So you have to think how, what are the areas in the 6G, how the deep learning can do that, and that we have to go for a particular research algorithm, do the problem statement, and then what is the present state research work, literacy survey has to be done, and then how to go further. So in the case of now, furthermore, we have to discuss about machine learning algorithm, which is going to help in channel estimation and also the user selection. We will see now how that is going to be done. Okay. So in the case of 6G, so the concept 5G, it is enhanced mobile broadband, ultra reliable low latency communication, machine type communication, massive machine type communication. Okay. So EMBB, URL LLC, TC. This is what we have learned. We are going beyond that. Okay. So in 6G, we are going to have computer-oriented communication and then contextually agile EMBB. It is not merely enhanced mobile broadband, it is contextually agile enhanced mobile broadband. So what is contextually agile mobile broadband? Okay. So I am moving in a car. I am now making I am just trying to make a video call. It is a context, and the context is agile. At that time being, I require minimum 2 Mbps. This one, my 6G network will sense that at that point of time, it will alert me a slice, okay, network slice, and that network slice will provide me 2 MB. The moment I disconnect and get out from the car, then the contextually agile, okay, the communication, it will provide eMBB services, not 2 MB, only what is required. It may be even less, it will provide that one. So this is called a contextually agile, okay, variable thing. And then event-driven, ultra-reliable communication. So now this is now a doctor through a video on his iPad doing surgery. It is an event, and that is going to be defined. It is a critical, ultra reliable, ultra. That means I want to provide less than 1 milliseconds latency. If that latency has to be provided, end to end, I have to provide a network slice. Okay. So using the network function virtualization, using the say concept, that means presently even the up to 4G, you don't have the network function virtualization. It is slowly coming into the picture. Network function virtualization is now there in the 5G. If you want to provide event-driven, ultra-reliable communication, so that is not there. So when you have a centralized control plane and then a data plane, probably we will be knowing that. Yeah, of course, it is a different subject. In that, I'll give you the concept as a mobile communication man. Now you have to very clearly have your basic ideas on the central control plane, data plane in the software-defined networking. When you have a data plane, and the data plane says so 1 Mbps network slice for the particular doctor who is doing the surgery. He end to end, please remember the point, end to end, right from the surgery table, okay, yeah, till the place where the people are watching, the other doctor who is giving the instruction, it is an end to end pipe is created. Okay. Now presently, if you want to, any of you from your mobile, can you do that the configuration for that particular time? I want the pipe to be done. This is so in the ultra reliable low latency communication, it is we are able to do that one. And then computer oriented communication, we will be able to provide quality of service. So what is the quality of service? Okay. So now the classical quality of service is 99.9. Suppose if now 100 hours you are taking a service from my operator, I will be able to provide for out of 100 hours 99.9 0.9 hours, I will be able to provide uptime. 0.1 hour, it is only given to the God. You cannot question me. That is the quality of service I am providing. Suppose now there are technologies in 5G, you will be able to provide up to 4G, 4 nines, 99.49, 99.59. Can you provide 99.5 5 nines? That means after decimal 5 nines. That means almost equal to 100 hours. I am providing a service, quality of service, 100 hours. It will not fail, and that bandwidth I am providing, and that is configurable by the client and configurable by the IoT device. Okay, right? This is called a computation-oriented communication. That is now. It is just like that. If a president comes to the picture, the entire road, is getting blocked by the police people, and then say nobody else can pass through. So this is called a quality of service for the particular service. Okay. So the police come into the picture and then block the road. But here the path, the data path, what you want can be defined and then critically configured by the customer using this computer-oriented communication. So in the challenges of the 6G, end-to-end qualified service provision using the network slice by the concepts of the service provisions available, contextually agile EMB, MBB, and then event-driven ultra-reliable communication, and then computer-oriented communication. Okay, right? So these are all the now you find intelligentization has come, and then we want heterogeneous network has to be communicated, and then we want network slices, and then quality of service. So these are all the challenges now. Machine learning naturally is now coming into the picture. Without the machine learning, we cannot go. So I will not call it as a necessity. ML is a must for 6G. ML is going to play a very important role on 6G. So we will now go through the steps. If you want machine learning for 6G, I have to classify under 3 classification and then study how further it can be done. Okay. So is it clear up to this? You have any doubt? Any message on your this one? I think nobody has got a message. And then can I assume now things are clear? Can I go further?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
So I think I have spent more time on these basic things. And is it okay? My speed and everything okay? You are able to understand?
Okay, sir. We are able to understand, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now challenges in the future ML. One is the communication, another is the learning model, another is the computing. Okay. So these 3 things you will see. Communication, I have already discussed that. This is a heterogeneous communication. Okay. The existing configuration, I will not be able to do adapting. That means when I want to provide bandwidth of required this one, I will not be able to adapt. Okay. So we require a communication system with ML where the heterogeneous techniques has to adopt the configuration and also the topology. Topology means whether it is IoT device, whether it is a handheld device, it has to adopt. Okay. So that is the requirement for ML in the communication system. And then the ML will have a different type of learning model. There are a lot of different type of learning models. And for the purpose of time, I have omitted the introduction, that is role of ML. See, different ML things I wanted to discuss, but I will not be able to do that. I will skip that. Offline, if you want, I will share that. Okay. So now I will just make a mention about those things. Okay. So in the learning model, okay, my problem is the model learning efficiency. My focus is the parameter optimization and then model optimization. Parameter optimization is the latency is one of the parameter, end-to-end design is one of the parameter, bandwidth allocation is the parameter, synchronization is the parameter. Okay, so these are the parameters you have to keep in mind where ML can creep into that. Okay, next is overhead. What is the cost? So you cannot simply do that, and then overnight the entire 6G cannot be brought under ML. There are different type of application. All the application has to be integrated. That is why standard models, is not getting evolved over a period. So that is why they have started. Even ML specification is being designed these standards have came into the picture. Okay, and then we require learning models with self-adaptive for changing topology. That means whether the customer is there in a satellite, whether the customer is moving in a car, whether the customer is in the wireless net, with the access point. So the topology is changing. Whether the learning model has to adapt. So this is one question. This is one of the challenge. Okay, and then data set. So data set, amount of data set, quantum of data set is getting developed, getting generated is massive in a mobile communication system. The learning model should adopt the open data set model. Whether the open data set is available because it is all with the operators, so operator will not share. This is another area difficult. So the privacy problem is one of the very important issue, and that you have to understand. Then we require a very good computing system. Okay, so for the computing system, now you understood there is a massive data set, and then machine learning slowly coming to the picture. The massive data has to be learned. How that is going to be done? Okay, so this problem. So when you have a computing system, already cloud has into the picture, fog and then edge computing system has come to the picture. Okay, now I assume that you all know, very familiar with mobile edge computing, mobile fog computing, and mobile cloud computing. Now in all these cloud computing situation, the computation resources required are different. That means if you do the edge, suppose now you have the wireless sensor network getting the sensor data, and that has to be, suppose now in a forest sensor, and that has to be processed at the edge of the wireless sensor network itself, and then you try to use the map reduce and those type of concepts, and then reduce the quantum of data where there are duplicates, where unwanted data, all these things are there. That we call as the edge computing. Now at this point, whether you can introduce a machine learning, yes, that means there may be irrelevant data, unwanted data, and then it may be raining, and at the time you may get that forest fire sensor data, temperature data in terms of burning category. Say, let us say if it is 35 degrees centigrade, 35 degrees centigrade, and you get a this one is heavily raining, and you get this data, then you have to discard it. Okay, so who senses, who computes, and then who does the learning by this one? And here the computing system plays a very important role for, and if it gets combined with this machine learning technology and mobile, that is the mobile communication, linear, the mathematical models will not work. Okay, so if it is not going to be linear and mathematical models are not going to work in our traditional technological scenario, then we must have experiment for conducting machine learning based algorithms and then doing computation using that. Therefore, you have to study this. If you want to do the research, you have to manage that in this type of categories. Whether you are doing research in the computing system area, whether you want to do research in the learning system area or in the communication system area, is a point you have to try to understand. Now, with respect to machine learning, what are the very important areas of research where you have to start studying that? I have now categorized some 10 basic areas. You can see, I can give the reference of these papers are also to you. So you want to do challenges with using the machine learning. The machine learning has got a role in end-to-end service provision. I have already discussed what is the end-to-end service provision, and then physical layer, MAC layer, and then application layer. In each layer, machine learning has got a very important role. And then dynamic online learning with proactive exploration. Now, artificial reality, okay, virtual reality. So, this is the reality video transmission. You have to find online, you have to find out whether there is a break in the frames which is being received. So for that, you require a proactive exploration. The learning is required, whether there is really virtual reality video which is being presented, is there any break in the frames? For that you have to get the feedback, and then in the feedback you have to do the learning, training, and then try to understand if it is there is a break, whether the distant end customer, whether he is really feeling that there is a break in the, whether he feels real scenario with respect to the original video which is being transmitted. Okay, so this is the dynamic online learning with the priority exploration. Whether you want to do that distributed or centralized, that means whether you want to do processing in the edge computing or in the fog computing, or you want to do that in the cloud computing. Suppose now I tell you, so now the system has done content delivery network is there, wherein the television channel people are seeing in a particular location. Now the television channels have started coming in your mobile itself. If you are seeing in a mobile channel your television, suppose now Olympic is there in one particular street, so 100 people are seeing the same Olympic in their mobile phone. This is the situation. Okay. Now content delivery, when it is broadcast, say from Hyderabad, and then it comes to Vijayawada, in one particular street 200 people are seeing the video. Now what will be your design? Present design is the package pertaining to the video for all the 100 customers will come independently in a different channel from Hyderabad server to all the people in a particular location in your street. That means there is a congestion in the channel. Unnecessarily your multiple packets are getting repeated for the customers. Now we will use the machine learning and then find out in a particular locality these people require the same picture, the same video. Why do you transmit from Hyderabad to video? No, don't do that. Get one packet to the edge of the node. Okay, base station BTS in the conventional technology, node B in the 5G or G node B in the 5G or the 6G parlance. Then for the node, you provide a cache server in the edge, and then see that the packets are getting repeated for the 100 customers. So this is concept of the decentralized and the distributed concept. And then whether you are able to do the global intelligence or the local intelligence. This point I am coming later. I'll just introduce that. For the time being, you just to understand that there is a provision for scalability of the global intelligence. The global scalability of the global intelligence means if there are 10 to 15 customers are roaming in a BTS area and they are moving out of the BTS area, this BTS area, the local intelligence of this using machine learning technique, this handsets, user equipments will get the intelligence and then transmit to the mobile base, that is eNode B, and that will give the nearby node and say that this particular customer is moving towards your area only. Definitely he moves because he has got a habit of coming from this point to that point. Okay, that is my intelligence, and then this is my global intelligence, and the information given by his neighbors and by him is the local intelligence. From the local intelligence, I have done the machine learning analogy and then derived a global intelligence. My global intelligence says that he is coming to eNode B2, which is very near to that, and be ready with the resources and other things. Therefore, the real picture, the video, these handover problems will not be there, and that plays the scalability and the local intelligence. So you can increase the learning efficiency. I told you data set the generation. Massive data set is going to be generated, and then overhead. When you use the intelligence, when you use artificial intelligence, machine learning, the computation overhead is going to increase. When it you are going to manage it, okay, then I've seen that whether providing massive machine learning intelligence is feasible, and then when you do the standardization, what are the things you are going to encounter. Now you please note that these are all the 10 basic points for the machine learning, the role of machine learning when you want to do research in the role of machine learning to 6G. Okay, and then when these things are coming into the picture, so now the problem is when you take the physical layer, then the network layer, physical layer, okay, then you come to application layer, you find that In the physical layer, adaptive configuration, the configuration adapted. What type of network, what type of configuration is required? When you come to the network layer, what is the type of radio required? Whether it is what type of frequency is being used, how much bandwidth has to be allotted. Okay, so then what is the media, the rate of data which is to be sent? So that has to be controlled. So in the machine learning, for 6G, when you want to do the research, when you have to think about adaptive configuration, radio research scheduling, and the resource research scheduling, and the network traffic control. How much amount of the traffic has to be given. Okay, and then here, if you come the other side, whether in the application layer, the computed information, how you are going to offload, how you are going to predict the traffic. I told you, when the user with the mobile is moving around, and then I will be able to predict user his behavior and previous history. Definitely he will move towards this one. Okay, let us say now a car moving in the highway, and he has programmed now, he is going from Hyderabad to Vijayawada, such a location of this one. The moment the network node in the 6G knows his destination, knows his route, now the machine learning algorithm understands the prediction. Okay, this is the route is going, this is the network is going to travel. So immediately in the cluster, what are the nodes is going to likely to pass through, and then what is the traffic is going to do. Immediately what are the channels, automatically the machine learning algorithm, you predetermine, you fix it, and then you provide a route to him. So that is the way you are going to do machine learning algorithm in the 6G. For that, we basically require the data link layer, channel method, traffic clustering in the network layer, and then you have to predict the transport in the traffic layer, and then you have to upload the computing, this one. Okay. Next is the role of ML in the 6G. If you take the physical layer, I have to talk about this end-to-end modeling using the online learning. When you take a MAC layer, okay, autonomous decision has to be taken. For that, predictive resource allocation, and then federated eco-state learning. So these are all the concepts I will just explain you one by one. Okay, and then network layer, quality of service has to be done, and then application at the transport layer, ML as a service we have to start providing, because we have to put the holography, autonomous driving, and massive robots. They require different type of quality of service. Okay, so in other words, so far the network, mobile com network up to 4G and then even 5G, we were not driving towards client-centric networking. Client-centric network means the moment I get a service operator, whomever I want. Suppose now you take a SIM from BSNL, you cannot get an Airtel service. Now in the 6G, irrespective of the provider who provides a SIM, you will be able to get connectivity for a particular video conference. You can go for Airtel. For mobile video call, mobile voice call, you can go for Vodafone. If you want to provide a connectivity to a doctor with respect to your body area network which is getting connected to your mobile phone, you can go via BSNL. Irrespective of the SIM card, please remember, SIM card is a common. In the application level, I am planning. Client-centric network, I am planning. If I want 5 gigabits of bandwidth, I will say I am ready to play. Immediately amount will be detected and I will be getting connected. So this is called opportunities networking, and then client-centric networking. So this is the role of ML is going to provide this support. Okay. So more intelligent connected object I am going to do. Okay. So wireless communication network is no longer is for voice or video. This is going to provide data based on your past experience and then knowledge and experience. Larger and larger amount of data that is going to be transported. So machine learning is going to represent basic functionality and then guarantee wireless networks. But if you go on providing interoperability, repeatability, generalization, and then provide a network. Ultimately, this is going to provide overhead for network. If you increase the training accuracy using the mobile, and then the network overload will increase. So you must have a balance. If you want to do the feasibility of the machine learning in network, you should have training accuracy and then network overhead. Increase training accuracy, this will go up. If you increase this will go down, accuracy will go down. So you have to do the strike a balance in between. Okay. So if you see the research opportunities in general overview, okay. So I will now sum up now. ML method, what are the ML methods going to have a major role? Okay, in 6G. Okay, what is the areas in which 6G is going to use deep learning, which we have discussed now, different areas. Deep reinforcement learning, what are the components of automation in 6G network I am going to make use of? Okay, open data access, if it is brought together, what type of problems we will face mobile network operator interest, because operator will not share these data. And then what are all the efficient model which are going to be transferred in the resource constrained platform? Okay, how you are going to couple it? Okay, how are you going to dynamically select application and then platform dependent models? Okay, application, every application is different and we require different platforms. That means for IoT, one bit you want less than 1 millisecond latency. Okay, critical, time critical. At the same time, I make a video call, that much of critical latency I don't require. Therefore, if you want to use supervised learning or unsupervised learning, reinforced learning, deep learning, I will explain you about the, probably you will know federated learning. I will tell you now how it is getting fitted in this. And then reproduced kernel helped space concepts, and then probabilistic methods, where you are going to make use. So these are all the question marks here in the research areas when we want to go use these research opportunities. Okay, now I will go to the MAC, that is a physical layer. Before going to the physical layer, up to this, do you have any doubt? And some questions have come. I think nobody has got any questions till now. Okay. Is it okay up to this? Can I go further? Another only 10 minutes, I think I will not be able to complete fully. Okay, ML at physical layer, I will go a little faster. Okay, now we will talk about the ML at physical layer. Physical layer, okay. Normally in our wireless communication, all the models are the mathematical models. Okay, so they have a non-linear factors wherever the physical models are concerned. Okay, now when we want to have 6G wireless concern, then we want to integrate ML into the physical layer. Okay, now a lot of research has been conducted in the recent period. In that, you want to use the ML to replace. Okay, many problems are getting not well solved so far. So, for example, if you take one problem is uplink and downlink reciprocity in frequency division duplexing. Okay, so what is a reciprocity in the frequency division duplexing? That means there is an uplink and there is a downlink. So you use a frequency band in the uplink, and then you use a frequency band in the another downlink. Okay, so when you use these two frequencies, okay, this is called the reciprocity. Okay, now there is an interference because the bandwidth, you take the adjacent bandwidth, there is an interference between these two. Okay, because the power used in the uplink and downlink are different. Normally in the downlink the power is very loose. The high power in the uplink and the low power in the downlink. There are two parameters, functions. One is frequency, another is the power. So in this is called the uplink downlink reciprocity. Okay, when can we find out in the normally thing? You cannot find out the interference. Okay, and then you cannot do the mitigation. Okay, and then you see how channel can be built, the prediction. If these problems are occurring, the reciprocity, the channel prediction has to be considered. This is one of the problems which is existing in the current communication system in the models because of this lack of accuracy and the non-linearity. The uplink, downlink, reciprocity in FDD, okay, frequency duplexing is one of the areas in the physical layer. You can note it down, okay. And then in the second level, in the traditional design, okay, it is a based on only a linear model. In the linear model, what happens? So we want to do the ML integration. Okay, when you want to do the ML integration, the decoding, modulation, and waveform, we always do in the traditional design, we do separately. So channel decoding, channel modulation, and this one we do. But you want to do end to end and together, it is very complex. Okay, for that we can use the ML. So a near optimal end-to-end mapping, which can be done using the machine learning in the physical layer. Okay, so that will be the merit of the future study. So this decoding, modulation, and then design of the waveform in the physical layer is one of the area for research. And then you take the fourth point is the integration of ML. Okay, integration of ML is the fourth level at the existing modular based methods. In the traditional method, what we are doing, okay, there are inherent defects. If you take a 4G or 5G, when you design the ML, there are a huge training data. Either they get underfitted or they get overfitted, or there is a slow convergence models. So when you go for the intelligentization of the model, the design process of the model, when we have to look at these model-based methods for the integration of the method, you have to look at these underfitting and the overfitting of the training data. That is one of the very important area in the physical layer. Okay, and these problems in the physical layer will benefit if you use the ML. Okay, when you go for further research areas in the physical layer, so we will just think in terms of channel coding, then synchronization, positioning, and then channel estimation with respect to 6G, and then arrive at the concepts of what are the areas in which you can do the research. If you do the channel coding, okay, wireless channel has got imperfections. Okay, wireless channel, why we do the coding? When the signals have to be transmitted, they have to be modulated. When you do modulation, and the coding process is coming to the picture. When you do the coding, because of the imperfection in the channel, errors are occurring. Okay, right. Now, to overcome this, if you want to use ML in this channel coding, then the concept is, okay, I use the ML. When you machine learning algorithm, when you use the machine learning algorithm, we want to do the training. When you do the training, the number of codes, that bits is getting increased. When it is getting increased, the latency is getting increased. When the latency is getting increased, then again you get a problem in the channel coding when you use the ML algorithm, because I want more latency has to be decreased when you do the coding and then decoding process. Now you have to look at the methodologies, whether you can do the rapid coding. When you do the rapid coding, then you use the assumption of number of bits. When you do the code word lengths for doing the deep learning training, we want to provide deep learning, and then we want to provide training. The code word length is getting increased. Okay, and you have to look at that area when you do the channel coding and using the deep learning techniques. Okay, so when you use the deep learning techniques using the code words, okay, the code word length naturally increases when you use the deep learning technique. The code word length is increasing from 2n to 2n cases if you want to learning, because we want more data to be done, and then because of that the latency is getting increased. So we have to do. There are several attempts have been made to overcome the problem in the learning technologies. They go towards the zero code words. Okay. So when you do the code wording, there is a coding algorithm using the deep learning technique. So the computational complexity affects the time spent in the decoding, and that has to be looked into. Okay. So the time spent for decoding has to be looked into in the channel coding when you go for deep learning technique in the physical layer using the machine learning algorithm. Okay. The next concept is the synchronization. Synchronization, when we in the 5G knee radio, in the synchronization, you use this carrier frequency offset. Okay. What is the carrier frequency offset? So when you use the uplink, then you have the UE in the uplink frequency you are using. Let us say you are using the frequency F1, and then you use the E node B. Okay. That is the BTS, and then here this is the receiver. Okay, this is the transmitter. Okay, the transmitter frequency, when it receives receiver, it gets attenuated. Okay, and then the same frequency, if you oscillator of the receiver has to be tuned. The frequency of the oscillator receiver and the frequency transmitted, if they are not on the same time domain, then we call it as a carrier frequency offset. In the carrier, highest carrier frequency offset environment, if your mobile is moving in the fastest way, say in a car and all, so there will be worst radio channel environment. Okay. So for that, we require synchronization. So the synchronization, we have to achieve the accuracy. For that, we have to use the ML, right? So if you try to achieve the synchronization and the carrier frequency offset, you try to achieve, towards that, you can find out the sampling time offset, sampling frequency offset of the transmitter and the receiver. Okay. So using the detection of the signal detection by decoding, okay, for that you are using the autoencoder based deep learning neural network. Okay. So these things you already learned, autoencoder using the deep learning neural network. So we will be able to achieve the synchronization of the signal as a reference receiver and as a reference, and you are end to end you are able to do the synchronization for that. So at the ML level, the synchronization is doing this job. Okay. Then in physical layer, positioning is coming into the picture. Normally here we use the near line of offset and then received signal strength, state information. You use the channel state information using the received signal state indicator. By that you are able to provide, and I have already discussed that we are not able to provide positions exactly. We are only providing the coverage area in the 3G, and then to some extent better positioning technologies in the 4G and all. Okay. In the 5G, exact positioning, because the devices are coming to the picture, and that the significant positioning errors has to be removed. For that, we provide deep neural network using ML methods. Okay. So how that is done? Okay. So now in a customer moving from one place to another place, the deep neural network using the ML algorithms, you are able to find out RSS, whether it is a received signal strength is missing, is available, and to what extent it is missing. Okay. And then find out what is the power level of the signal from the UE equipment and also E node B side. And then it will not be the same. The performance will not be the same in space A and the space B. And then you have to provide massive data for the people who are moving from place to place, and then try to get the data, and then try to do the training, and then find out the positioning values. So the performance difference and the response, okay, for the deep learning based location level technology, okay, from the experiment and the actual environment. So I have done the deep learning training, and then my equipment is able to understand So in phase A, whether the received signal strength, experimental information, what is the value, and then how it can be compared with the actual environment, and then say predict where the customer is moving, where the IoT devices are there, and that can be analyzed during the research. So the positioning methods, okay, and then channel estimation. So we use the linear minimum mean square error methodology to obtain optimal passage in the channel. Channel is linear or the stationary. So the real channels may be non-linear or maybe non-stationary. We use the deep learning techniques, okay, using the channel estimation, okay. By using these training methods, in spite of the complicated channel environment, okay. So the channel estimation method, we are using the equalization by using the by realizing this single neural network, okay. So the channel estimation using the deep neural network, you can be trained offline, and then you require a massive training data for a long training sequence, and then if there are mismatch in the real channel and also the training channel, that can be used for estimation the performance degradation. In future research, it can be online training, okay, by using the training data sets matching the real world channels as well as the future promising approach for the future research. Then comes is beam forming. Already you, day for yesterday, you have done this beam forming technique. The using MIMO, we are using the beam forming. How you can the beam can be focused on a particular customer. Okay, so now you see here the beam forming technique, the structural information. Now the beam forming is coming from the handset. It is the beams are coming from this network, antenna to this network and also to this network. And here this beam forming is say it need not go there, and the traffic is blocked. Okay, here the traffic, because it is blocked, the machine learning says you go via this. Normally, the if the beam forming technique ML algorithm is not there, if the beam forming is going from here to here, and then it says it does not know it is blocked, and then it has no intelligence, it has to be rerouted. The rerouting intelligence is not there in the antenna. Okay. The same way in the cell assessment, adjacent channel cell assessment. Suppose now this mobile is there, and this antenna is doing the servicing, and here this service is there. The beam is focused here, and ultimately the power level is more. Okay, these power levels from the beam forming can be received and then sent to the machine learning algorithm, and it can find out which beam has got the most strength, and then it can order the antenna to go and then get hooked to the particular set. Okay, and then you find that here there are so many customers, they are not fed by any recent antennas, and then this directionally MIMO system providing a beam, providing more power and more cover to the people who are in the same in a particular area. Okay. Also, the beam forming access in motion or in the move, providing a broadband connectivity. So here the particular customer is moving in a train in a very fast way, and then for him we are providing a beam, and then that intelligence is connected centrally, and then it is providing a radio channel based on the ML. Okay. So at this level beam forming, it is provided, we are able to capture structural information of a radio channels and to the neighboring base station. Okay. So using by MIMO, the MIMO provides the beam forming technology. The beam forming you can provide intelligent using the machine learning technology, more specifically deep learning. Okay. By this we are able to provide dedicated hardware, and then these antennas are able to adapt to the requirement of the customer of the neighboring base station, and then they are able to provide appropriate power and then emission to them. Okay. So now I think I will be able to complete only the physical layer. Okay. So now what are all the research areas? in the physical layer, what are the problems in the physical layer which can be solved by ML? Is there an end-to-end communication which can be provided by deep learning? How deep learning can optimize the physical layer? What are all the implementation issues of ML methods in physical layer? How deep learning can provide optimization for providing deep real data? I told you that beamforming. And then how deep learning based physical layer optimization can perform under imperfect channel state information. I told you, that is ML can get the information about the channel state information. How deep learning based physical layer optimization can combine intelligence in the upper layers, and then how training workload of deep learning model for physical layer optimization can be reduced by recent advances in deep learning such as domain adaptation. Okay, transfer learning. That means in one tower area, one node B area, the intelligence captured can be shared by the adjacent nodes. So that is a transfer learning. How can training data can be reduced by applying advances of generative adversarial network? So generative GAN network, this is another new area, GAN network area, provide to generate artificial data in the physical network. That means, so the adversarial network collects the information. That means if this is not happening, what we can do? If the signal level is getting reduced continuously, what to do? If signal level is getting aberrated continuously, what to do? And that is information is taken to build up the intelligence. So this is called adversarial network. Provide inputs of situations. What will happen if this is going to be very adverse in the output? That type of output is collected, that is provided as input. Okay, that is called a GAN network. In that GAN network, these inputs will be taken and then the data will be trained to improve the network in the adverse situations. So that is a GAN network, how the data is getting artificially generated, the advances made to train the data. So these are the some of the research areas in the adversarial GAN networks. I think now the time is 11:02. I think, of course, I have the MAC layer and then application layer. So another 30-40 slides I will try to share people whoever is in need of it. So at this point I will stop because 11, I think my time given to me is 11. I stop here with this what are research opportunities in the physical layer. So if anybody having any doubts, or few doubts, I will clarify. Otherwise, we can get connected to the offline, and also the other this one slides. For that, up to 105 slides are there, and then these information study I made from the research. References, the research papers, whatever I taken here, the references I given, you can further go into that, these research papers on these references I given. So with this I will stop here. Any doubt? Now it will open now for 5 minutes. Anybody have any doubts? Oh, madam, I can answer now. It is already on 11:03. I think I am supposed to finish. If you say I have some more time, then I can continue also. Anyway, left to the organizers. Yeah, anybody having any doubt, please ask me.
Sir, good morning, sir. Sir, one asked doubt, sir. Please show last before slide.
Last
sir,
before.
Srinivasrao, sir, can you please?
One minute. Last before.
I shared a mic also. Srinivasrao, sir, please.
One minute. Last before means this one, No, not this. For me, the last.
Sir, references, sir. They are asking about references, sir. References.
Acha, you want references,
Yes,
one
sir.
of-
References slides.
One minute. The research paper reference, I will show.
Yes, sir. This one is.
Reference. This one, you know.
Yes, sir.
I have the copy. I can share you also. People, you need not make an effort to note down.
Okay, sir.
I have the research paper, soft copy with me.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I have the soft copy with me. Whoever wants, you can given my mail ID. You can note down. I will share with you. No problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I have a lot of collections on that 6G network exclusively, and then another 50 slides I could not connect because I have around 100 slides. Because the first 20 minutes I spent on 6G, because this is supposed to be done tomorrow. I felt that you would have become expert in 6G. I can start from the machine learning, that is problem portion onwards, but I could not do so. Whatever it is, we can get connected. Whatever you want, I will share you. This is a slide for references. I have lot of references, other references also. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Now, any other questions?
I think no questions, sir.
You are noted down my this one, you know. No doubt. I'm wondering whether all of you were comfortable, understood something.
So someone is asking doubts, sir.
Tell me.
Please ask now. Any doubts? Please ask now only.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Madam, please.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, actually, I'm working on channel coding, sir.
Okay.
Course I'm working, sir.
Okay.
Sir, from your presentation, I understood that we can apply deep learning techniques in channel coding, sir. In the
Yes, definitely, madam. Very good. You understood very nicely.
Yes, sir. So, shall I move to learn deep learning techniques and
Definitely.
So it will be useful for me, sir.
Definitely, madam. You please note down my mail ID.
Now
I will show my mail ID slide now. You please note down. I have collected a lot of some papers also on that. Okay.
Sir.
So I have an industry background, very good background. So I will try to help you, and then first you have to which portion of channel coding you want to take up. You have to decide that, and then 6G technology portion, channel coding portion, and then connected deep learning portion. Both you have to decide first. Then you have to start understanding literature review. Then we have to stop and then attacking on that. So first now channel coding portion, what has been done in 5G, what has been done in 6G. So this whatever paper I referred, the authors, I think more than 10 to 15 authors are there for that. Okay, each one of them discussed very deeply into that. Okay, so we will get connected. So now no problem. I will show my that is mail ID now in my last slide. So you can make note now. My mail ID I have given now there.
Yes, sir. Noting down, sir. Thank you, sir.
Whether the presentation was useful?
Very much useful, sir. It is based to further research for many of us, for faculty and the students also. It will be great exposure.
I need one more session. If tomorrow any slot is vacant also, please tell me. I have left physical layer and then application layer I have left. That is one of the core part. I could not do the core part because I have to do some introductory part in the beginning. I am ready to do the other two parts also. Okay. If you find time, please tell me. I can do that.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. I have completed only physical layer. I have Mac layer. I have the application layer. Then I have security. Then I have the standardization. All of them are linked with the machine learning.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Shall I finish? Shall I close it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, it was a very nice session, sir.
Thank you.
Those who wants to do research and doing research in ML, for
Okay.
those intelligent communication, 6G necessity for ML, challenges in 6G and future ML. All these topics are very useful and to publish good journals also.
Yes, sir.
You have given a lot of research ideas, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And you shared your industrial experience also. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.